Welcome to Caseware Quick Vids for GAAP Financials. This quick vid will demonstrate how to begin working in the Notes to the Financial Statements Knowledge Library. I will demonstrate that features that are unique when creating alternate note formats. The general concepts are the same for all the libraries, but please see the quick vid Knowledge Library Overview for a conceptual overview of the knowledge libraries and the quick vid Creating Alternative Formats for Statements for additional information on the statement format libraries. Please note, this quick vid will not cover detailed formatting options and features. There are 3 steps important to completing the Notes Knowledge Library. The first is going to be to review the Caseware content and select the content you would like to make available to your users. Second is going to be to create your own unique firm content if necessary. And third is going to be to set the content you would like to auto-generate by entity type. In the Notes Library, Caseware has included numerous suggested note formats that you can use as is, you can modify, or you can use the library to create wholly new notes. I will first review the Caseware content that is included out of the box. This is done by selecting the Select Available Content button. Alternatively, you can select this from the document drop-down. Within the Select Available Content dialog, you are brought to the Knowledge Library Index. This index is designed to allow you to easily view and find particular notes. When working in the Notes Library, you will be continually referring to the Knowledge Library Index. At the top level are significant accounting policies and notes to the financial statements, which contain base note examples. Also at the top level are generic notes, which contain many blank table types you can use. Opening and closing each of these areas will show or contract additional branches. Let's create an example of how one would review Caseware content. For this demonstration, I decide I need a property, plant, and equipment note with a table. I know that property, plant, and equipment is an asset. I locate the property, plant, and equipment branch with tables, and now I can view all the note tables for property, plant, and equipment. At this lowest level, you can review the table types by placing the cursor on the notes and reviewing it in the Preview Content window. Please note, the checkbox must be selected to review the content. Using the Preview Content window, I can review the first table and decide this note table needs to be modified a little to meet my needs and requirements. Using the checkbox, I can select whether content should be made available or unavailable to users. Unselecting the checkboxes will make notes as unavailable at the engagement level, and users will never be able to see them in their Knowledge Library Index. I can now move on to step 2. After reviewing the content and deciding which content should not be made available to my users. I'm now going to begin step 2 and create a unique customized note format. Selecting the Add New Content button, or alternatively accessing it from the document drop-down, the New Content Specification dialog is open, which is used to decide where in the Knowledge Library Index the new note being created will be placed. The titles, area, heading, topic, and subtopic correspond to the different branches of the Knowledge Library Index. In this case, I know I'm creating a property, plant, and equipment note, so for area, I select Notes to the Financial Statements, and then continue down the items. I use the drop-downs to place my note accordingly in the Knowledge Library Index. Please note, a customized structure of the Knowledge Library Index can be created by adding new areas, headings, topics, and subtopics. Once satisfied with the selections, I provide a name for the note. In this case, I will call it Quick Vids Demo Note. Selecting OK will once again show the Knowledge Library Index. I can use Expand All and Collapse All to expand or contract the index. The index is now going to be used to select which note example I'm going to use as a base for my new property, plant, and equipment note. Even though I am making a property, plant, and equipment note, I don't need to base this new note on an existing property, plant, and equipment note. I can use any note in the whole index. However, because in step 1, reviewing the Caseware content, I wanted to modify Caseware's existing property, plant, and equipment, I will use the tree as shown before to locate this note. Selecting the appropriate radio button for the note I wish to modify and clicking OK will insert this note into the Knowledge Library. This note can now be modified using all the tools and features found in Financials to meet the specific customization requirements. Even though I've only added one note, I'm able to add as many custom note formats as required using the method just outlined. A very powerful feature to point out in Financials lets you easily create a new note using a combination of existing notes. For example, right-clicking on the heading Quick Vids Demo Note, if I select Knowledge Library and then select Insert Note Under, I am once again shown the Knowledge Library index. In this case, I would like to add a generic text note under my existing note. Using the Knowledge Library index, I locate the generic text note and select OK. Now located at the bottom of the Quick Vids Demo Note is some additional text, which I am able to modify to suit my requirements. This feature I have just shown becomes especially useful if you have a note that requires multiple tables. Please see the help on sorting to learn how to sort the note components. The notes, as with other statement formats, have the ability to auto-generate based on the entity type selected in the client file. Select the Content to Auto-Generate button or access it from the Document drop-down. Please note, it may take some time for all the notes to generate in the dialog. In the Set Content to Auto-Generate by Entity dialog, there are several checkboxes arranged in lines corresponding with each note. Each checkbox in a line represents a different entity type. Holding the mouse over each of these radio buttons will display the entity type associated with it. For example, I can select to have private limited companies and partnerships generate the newly created property, plant, and equipment note in their financial statements by checking off these appropriate checkboxes. Once the selections are made, select OK. I have now completed the steps necessary for reviewing, creating, and setting content to auto-generate in the Notes to the Financial Statements Knowledge Library. Selecting the back button will return me to the firm financial options. Thank you for watching Caseware Quick Vids.